You ever get this weird feeling that your favorite anime is slowly losing its soul? Like something sacred's been chipped away, episode by episode, arc by arc? Yeah, we need to talk about One Piece. Not the peak fiction memes, not the Gear 5 hype, I mean the slow decay you've probably felt but couldn't explain. This isn't about the power scaling or the filler, or whether Luffy's Toon Force is canon breaking. This is about how a masterpiece starts quietly bleeding out. Let's rewind, back to when One Piece was a fireball of raw energy, hope, and heartbreak. East Blue Saga, pure magic. Every island felt like a fairy tale laced with a gut punch. Arlong Park, that moment Nami turns to Luffy and says, "Help me." Instant goosebumps. Luffy giving her the hat, iconic. This wasn't just good storytelling, that was emotional alchemy. In the early arcs, every crew member had weight. Zoro was brooding beast with ambition. Sanji had mystery and class. Usopp, cowardly but real. Nami was layered, scarred, resilient. The world felt dangerous but full of wonder. It wasn't just about treasure, it was about freedom. The Straw Hats weren't just characters, they were family, misfits against the world. But somewhere along the Grand Line, that feeling started to fade. You know, when I was younger, the parts of any story I vibed with the most were always the biggest, most recent arcs. Like Dragon Ball, my top was the Buu Saga, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Fusion, even Super Saiyan 3 Fusion. Straight madness. Same deal was with Naruto. The war arc was stacked with literally every character showing up. Naruto rocking the Nine Tails power, chakra nukes flying everywhere. It was next level. But when One Piece dropped the post-time skip, that was peak hype for me. Everyone came back beefed up, new drip, upgraded designs, stakes higher than ever as we finally hit the new world. But with that, I must also not forget the reality that I am not a kid anymore. My taste in stories changed a lot, and so did my thoughts on One Piece. For me, One Piece starts super strong, but once we hit the midpoint, it rarely hits those same highs again, or at least not that often anymore. Let's be real, when was the last time Zoro had a truly human moment? I'm not talking about badass soul moves or epic one-liners, I'm talking vulnerability, growth, flashback level emotion. Remember Thriller Bark? Zoro taking all of Luffy's pain and saying nothing happened? That wasn't just cold, that was character depth on another level. Now, he's a meme factory. The Where's Zoro gag has replaced actual character moments. Sanji, ever since the whole cake arc, he has been swinging between simp and punching bag. The man who used to be all self-intelligence and internal conflict is now comic relief with kicks. Usopp, he was the everyman, the coward who tried anyway, but he's faded into background noise. His last major moment was Dressrosa? That's 10 years ago. Even Nami, who had real trauma, has become a navigational plot device in a bikini. And Brook, Jinbei, they feel like crew accessories, not protagonists. Only Robin gets occasional glimpses of depth, but even she's sidelined too often. Luffy's still fun, still iconic, but his growth flatlined. He has been the same guy for hundreds of episodes. He's not dumb with a heart of gold anymore. He's just dumb with plot armor and gags. The emotional glue that held them together growing up. Take Nami. I think she's awesome, but post-time skip, I can't recall a single moment that made me say, wow, that was sick. People hyped the Wano scene where she won't quit on Luffy. But let's be real, that has already happened and was better the first time. Back in Skypiea, she stood firm against the arc's main villain, Enel, and said she won't chase her dreams without Luffy, even when he was presumed dead. That scene hit way harder than the one in the Wano arc. Not saying characters can't repeat moments that reinforce who they are. Luffy's had like a million and they're all great, but the Straw Hats' loyalty to Luffy has been hammered so many times it has lost emotional weight. Remember Water 7, Usopp, Robin, Frankie, all doing big things. Not just them, every Straw Hat had major moments. That's vanished now. It's like we don't even get to see that anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. Chopper is basically just in the back background. Same goes for Frankie. Frankie used to be so cool. He was very close to becoming my favorite once. Remember his attacks from his hands? We don't get to see that anymore. He's basically just in the background. That's it. Read time skip. Zoro versus number 2, Sanji versus number 3, etc. But those fights built character. I'll take that any day over nothing. Another big issue, too many straw hats. Either some get all the shine or none get enough. Oda tried fixing this by splitting the crew. Half went to Dressrosa, half to Whole Cake. Even then, most of them still got sidelined. Those arcs are huge, only half the crew in each. So you would think they would get serious development, right? Nope. Zoro wasn't in Whole Cake, so Dressrosa was his arc. And what did he do? He basically just cut a rock for a whole arc. That's it. Compared to his thriller bark moment, which is considered weak in terms of arcs, you see how far we have slipped. Robin used to be one of the story's deepest characters. She gets one decent fight in Wano, that's all. In Dressrosa, she's basically fan service. Whole Cake arc was Sanji's time. He got his moments, but rest of the crew, starving. Chopper's just cute in the background. Nami slapped Sanji once, that's it. Brook did nothing. Yeah, he stood up to Big Mom and smashed a photo. Cool, but that's action, not growth. Brook had one of the saddest backstories. His bond with Luffy felt real. Now, he's a pervy skeleton joke. Here's where it gets ugly. One Piece used to be about strategy. Now it's about flashing lights and punching harder. Remember when Luffy beat Crocodile by figuring out how to use water? Or when he struggled against Lucy and had to dig deep emotionally? Now he has Gear 5, grins like a Looney Tune, and embodies a Yonko. Power levels have gone so nuts that stakes feel hollow. If Luffy can laugh through death, what are we even scared of? And it's not just Luffy. Everyone's power-ups are handed out like candy. Haki, Awakening, Lunarine Gene, Seraphim clones, it's bloated. One Piece used to be creative with limits. Now it just escalates endlessly. And when everything is the biggest threat ever, nothing feels threatening. Even death doesn't sting. Characters survive impossible scenarios. Plot armors thicker than Kaido's scale, and emotional tension takes a backseat to spectacle. Let's not lie, Ichiro Oda is a legend, a genius. He built one of the greatest universes in fictional history, but even legends burn out. Oda's plotting used to be surgical. Every twist had weight. Now, arcs sprawl out over years. Wano arc took nearly 4 real-life years. That's more than half a high school's experience. The pacing is painful. Panels are cluttered. Fights are long and hard to follow. Characters are introduced, then forgotten. Subplots appear, then vanish. Oda's imagination hasn't slowed down, but his editorial discipline has. There are flashes of brilliance, like the tragic story of Odin, over the setup of Joy Boy, but they're buried under dense exposition, chaotic layouts, and world-building overload. And the worst part? He knows the end is coming, so he's rushing to tie every thread, resolve every mystery, and go out with a bang. But in doing so, he's cramming, not crafting. The final saga should feel like a culmination, not a cleanup job. This isn't just a One Piece thing. This is a shonen rot. Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, they all start with heart and end in explosions and empty power-ups. The longer these series go, the more they trade emotion for escalation. Character arcs stall. World-building balloons into nonsense. It's like the anime industry rewards scale over substance, and fans, we enable it. We scream for hype moments, power reveals, crossovers. We meme everything. We commodify the soul out of art. So maybe Oda's not the only one to blame. Maybe it's us too. We treat shonen like a sport, not a story. And here's the kicker. One Piece is still good. Even flawed, it has moments no other series can touch. But if we keep pretending everything's perfect, it's gonna rot from the inside. If we keep clapping for crumbs, Oda won't slow down and focus. We need to talk about this loudly, honestly. We owe it to One Piece, not just to the series, but to the younger version of ourselves who fell in love with it. The dream isn't dead, but it's tired, and it needs a wake-up call. We're not ungrateful fans, we are loyal ones, begging the story to honor what it used to be. One Piece taught us to dream, to chase freedom, to believe in Nakama, but even dreams get blurry over time. So let's clear the fog, not to hate, but to heal, because this isn't a rant, this is a love letter to what One Piece used to be, and maybe what it could still become.